Coming up on this week's episode of Soap Scoop, I have the amazing John Partridge, who used to play Christian in EastEnders. He joins me to talk about why Walford Chief sent police to his doorstep, his brutal experience on Celebrity Big Brother, and why he feels gay actors still can't be their authentic selves in Hollywood today. We've also got lots of soap chat from me and Mr. Johnny Hughes, but first over to John for what is truly an amazing interview. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. Hello and welcome, John Partridge, to Soap Scoop. It is lovely to have you back with us here at Inside Soap. How are you?
I'm feeling excited about this week because this week is the week that we open officially for the code play at the Southwark Elephant. So we've just done 3 previews and they've gone, I hate to say it, I shouldn't jinx it, but they've gone quite well. And so we open this week and I'm really excited for people to see a story about someone that they may not know or perhaps they'd forgotten about.
So this brings me on nicely. Tell me all about the code, who you play, what it's about. Tell us everything.
Okay, so the code deals with the closeted sexuality of Hollywood from the 1930s really through to today. And it asks the question, what would you be prepared to do for a chance of fame, for a chance of stardom? What would you be prepared to concede or conceal for fame? And it's so interesting. I play a character called Billy Haynes, William Haynes. In 1930, Billy Haynes was the top box office male star of Hollywood, of MGM, of the world. And in today's speak, in the kids' speak, he was the first openly out queer actor of that time, of that era. Now, fast forward to 1933, he was asked by Louis B. Mayer, who was the head of MGM, to give up his lover, Minnie Shields, or else lose his contract at MGM. And he chose to not do that. He chose to walk away from that life and that career in order to be his authentic self, to be the person that he is, and to not deny his sexuality. He then went on to become one of the most prolific interior designers of American culture. He was the forefather of mid-century modern, a design that we all love today, that I love today. If I could just switch this camera around, you'll see my house is covered in it. And him and Jimmy went on to have a 5-decade-long affair. Billy passed away in 1975, and 3 months later, Jimmy unfortunately took his own life and just left a little note by the bed that just said, "It's just no fun without Billy anymore." They had a lifelong love affair. And so for me personally, as a gay actor now, when you come to the play is set in 1950. And it's set in my living room, and we're about to go out to a party at George Cukor's house. George Cukor was a famous director of that time as well. And we meet a character called Henry Wilson. Henry Wilson was an agent, a prolific Hollywood agent through that time. And he was responsible for creating actors like Rock Hudson, Lana Turner. He was responsible for creating the 1950s beefcake that went on to be so popular. Henry Wilson was also gay. And what our story deals with is we have two homosexuals whose sexual proclivities should put them on the same side as they were in Hollywood. But there is a young actor in the middle of this mix called Chad Manford, played wonderfully by Solomon Davey. Henry Wilson is played by Nick Blakely, also fantastic. And really, the play deals with the fight for the soul of this young actor. So I'm on the one side of saying, be your authentic self, be who you are. Henry Wilson is on the side of, This is Hollywood. This is the machine. If you want to be, famous, this is the price. Obviously, what I'm saying is Chad, the young actor, is a young gay actor, and he has to make the decision of what he wants to do. I'm not going to tell you what decision he makes. And then thrown into the mix of that, we've also got the wonderful Tracy Bennett, who your readers will know from Coronation Street, that plays the brilliantly, plays absolutely brilliantly Tallulah Bankhead. And it's a play, it runs through 90 minutes, there is no interval, it is sharp, it is witty, it is stylish, but it deals with this subject matter that could be written for today. Because the horrible truth, I hate to say it, is even still today, you cannot be an A-list. When I say A-list, I don't mean I don't mean, cream of the crop. What I mean is you cannot headline a Hollywood movie today if you are an openly gay actor. So a town, when I say a town, I mean Hollywood, a town built by homosexuals, built on the backs of homosexuals, still actively excludes them. And the only way you can do that is if you keep stum about who you are and what you are. That's the only way you can do it, even now, even today. And I find that, I find that unbelievable. It also makes me angry. And I also think it's so, so sad. And it just feeds into this narrative that we have right now. It just perpetuates this narrative that we have right now. And I don't know what we do to change that, because it really seems like it is completely not within our power to do so.
These decisions that actors are making is still carrying on today. Like, they're still making decisions as to whether to be their authentic self because they feel it's going to hinder them in roles.
No, they can't. We all know we can't. We know that we can't do it. It's a funny thing. When I first got EastEnders, way back in the day, I'm not going to say how long ago it was, because
well, I remember, so I was lurking here, John.
But I was 36 then. I was 36, 37. And when I was first announced in a paper that I was going to be coming to play Christian, the very first thing in the very first newspaper, and it was The Sun, and it said, openly gay actor John Partridge. That's how it introduced me to the world. Now, I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that, because I am an openly gay actor. But I never asked for it. I never asked anybody to introduce me in that way. It was certainly never run by me if that was okay, or if I had an opinion of it. Now, fortunately, I didn't. But to all intents and purposes, I was outed in the mainstream by that article. And that was something I didn't ask for. Now, I guess you could say that that's the risk, isn't it? That's the risk that actors face. Now, I'm fully standing my queerness and I love it. Although that being said, it is not how I would necessarily identify myself. I am a husband, a brother, an actor, a friend. Being queer comes quite far down my list. Actually, contrary to public belief, I think people think that, I'm like a professional homosexual. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a professional homosexual. I think people might think that's what it is, but actually it's not. And in my stage life, because let's be honest, that's where I've made most of my career. I've played, out of the, I've done over 25 West End shows. I think out of all of those, I've maybe played 4 gay characters. The rest of the time, I'm people quite happily believe that, my sexual proclivity does not place me there in the theatre, on the stage. Yet in television and in film, all of a sudden it's like, ooh, I'm not sure that people are going to buy that. And I do not know what that is. I can't for the life of me think of what that is. And but it is something that is alive and well. We have all these conversations now. Today, I've just been reading today about about the new movie Peeling, is it, with Alexander Skarsgård playing the lead character in that, and there's all this outrage. You just got to flick through the comments. Gay people for gay actors. And then in the next comment, it's like, we don't care because Alexander Skarsgård's fit. And so even within, and I get asked all the time to go on these TV shows, or whenever there's a debate like this, they always ask me to go up and go into like Good Morning Britain and talk about gay actors for gay roles. And up until this point, I'd always sort of avoided it because I kind of thought, well, acting's acting, and you should be able to play all these things, and vice versa. I've had the opportunity on stage to play many, many, many straight roles. But in looking into this, because when I was offered this part, it's directed by the brilliant Chris Renshaw, who actually directed me in Taboo, a character where I did play a queer character, where I played Marilyn. But when he offered me this, I knew nothing about William Haynes. So he was a forgotten person to me. And in reading it and then working on the play, I suddenly had woke up and was like, God, it's a bloody outrage, really. It is a bloody outrage. And now I kind of am sort of in the camp of, gay parts for gay actors. And I know, and it's not about acting. I hate to say that. It's not about acting. It's not about being better or best, or, yes, if you're any actor, you should be able to play any role. Of course. But there are so few visible roles for queer people. That's just the nature of it. That's just the nature of what's on TV. It's just the nature of the things that are written. It's just, so I think where you can, if you can, I think you should, because it's not a level playing field for us.
Yeah.
We are actively excluded from playing straight roles. And whether you want to say that's nonsense or not, it's a fact. It is a fact. If you are out and queer, you are limited. That's just, that's not me. That's a way bigger machine than me. So I think if you can employ a queer actor for a queer role, if you're a producer or a film company or an executive producer or whatever you are, I really think you have a duty to at least make sure there is nobody better than them.
Yeah.
Because that's what being authentic, I know that actors can play any role. I know, that's what we're trained to do, and that's what you should be able to do. And yes, I have benefited from playing straight roles as well. So of course, but I just think there are so few roles for queer actors, especially on TV, especially in film, that if you got the opportunity to write a story for one, then come on, give them a crack, give them a shot, because they are, whether you like it or not, going to have a better perspective of what it feels like to be that person. They just are, because lived experience, truth, that's what it's about. But yeah, I am going to say that because I also have that lived experience. I also know what it's like to be rejected time after time after time after time after time because I'm bent.
Do you know what? It's really refreshing hearing you speak so honestly. So I think people are going to absolutely love hearing from you. It sounds like the code is definitely going to address that. And, I'm really glad you mentioned EastEnders. Christian, in his authentic self, falling in love with somebody who didn't know themselves at that point. And then there was religion all wrapped up in that as well. It was groundbreaking. Like, it was big for the show. Do you remember that time? And
I guess the thing is, when you're doing these things, not that you don't appreciate them, you do appreciate them, but it's only when you have perspective on something, and unfortunately, perspective really means time. Perspective time. It's only when time has passed. Even now, I have people that come and see me, that come and see, even at the Code the other night, I had my army of Cryedians that they come, and even now they come to the show, they support the shows, and I call them my army of Cryedians now. But I know them all by the first names. They've supported me throughout the years, and people that supported that story have continued to support me and follow my career and take an interest in me and the projects that I do. And I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful that we were given the opportunity to tell that story. It is very, very difficult to tell a gay story at 7:30 in the evening without offending somebody, especially today. But then, and even then, in a way, you know, we were then round about that 2010 mark, we were sort of having this lovely sort of upshift about gay marriage and gay life and visibility and inclusivity. And we were able to come in with that story and those characters on that wave of love, really, and positivity. And look at it now. Look at where we are now. How horrible. That story, what was, they thought we were going to be annihilated for it. You know, we were run through sort of police scenarios. We even had sort of police on our doors at the beginning, you know, just to make sure that nobody came to our home addresses. And it was the complete opposite of what they thought. It is very difficult to tell a gay story at 7:30 without offending somebody. And what I'm so proud of is that story just became about two people in impossible circumstances, regardless of religion or sexuality. It just became, and people, everybody can relate to that. Everybody can relate to falling in love with somebody that they shouldn't, that their parents don't like, that on paper doesn't seem correct for them. Everybody can relate to that. And that's what it became about. So from like white van man to 80-year-old gran, you know, we only ever had, whoa, you know, and I'm so, so, so proud of that. I'm so, and I just wish that that was now. I wish every day we see, you know, our hard-won freedoms as gay people being eroded. Only last week or the week before last, you have Hillary Clinton announcing to a massive platform, her massive platform on the television, if you are in a committed LGBT relationship, I suggest you get married now before that right's taken away from you. You know, we have this horrible debate in this country about trans people, even within our own community. So we have LGB with the T or LGB without the T. And that just makes my heart hurt. It is, I cannot for 1 minute understand why a minority group, and we are queer people, we are still a minority group, we shouldn't be, but we are, why we would actively want to exclude somebody else that it's othered. It absolutely breaks my heart. And that's what's so important about the Code play. We see in this play the struggle of a young person who is trying to make a decision about their life when they don't fully have all the facts. And when they have one person on one side saying, okay, if you don't do this, you know, if you do this, if you do this, you will have a wandering, glittering career and everything will be great. And yet you've got the other person on the other side saying, if you deny who you are and you deny what you are going to be miserable and broken. And that's what we're doing these days in our own community. We are marginalizing this tiny, tiny, tiny cross section of people. Do you think it's easy to be a trans person? Do you think it's easy to live that life and make that decision? And I cannot understand why queer people cannot just show love and support for that. It just, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? It's interesting listening to you saying, you know, the Chryed fans still come and see you. I mean, certainly today in soaps, we've got some really big super couples known as Rob Ron or Swala in Coronation Street. That is the big relationship at the moment between two women. And the fans are so engaged. It's the more, you know, and here at Inside Soap, I remember when you were doing Chryed and the following for you and Mark. So
I think we sort of started that sort of blogging page, you know, the fandom of that. I think it kind of really kicked into gear through that, and they still write about it.
yeah,
You know, they still do it, and that I just, you know, because it was authentic, I guess, in some sort of way, and it was the sort of precursor to where we are. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I'm just so grateful to it. I'll always be grateful for my time at EastEnders. People go, God, they get sick of being asked about it, and I'm like, no, I love it because like I love all the shows I've done. You know, people still talk. You know, I first did Cats when I was 16, and it's the first thing anybody in my theatrical life. You know, that's what they always write as well. They go Cats, and I was like, I was only 16. You know, I'm like 105 now, and it's like, but I love it. I love all the bits that have, you know, that have brought me here. I love all those parts of my life, and EastEnders and Christian is a massive part of who I am today. And I think I still carry him with me in my daily life, because when you do these soap characters, whether you like it or not, they are you. You are that person. When you get cast in a soap, that you don't have time to, when you do a play or a show, or you have a rehearsal period where you have time to sit with the director and find a character and understand who that character is. And more often than not, on stage, or that you are playing characters that aren't really, I mean, I'm just talking about playing Billy Haynes, a gay, or ex-Hollywood star who's in 50. Yes, this I understand a little bit more, but most of the time you're not. But when you come into a show, you don't have that time to sit and find a character. You cast on Friday and you're in the square by Wednesday,
Yeah.
So, and with like 100 scripts in your hand going, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And so they tend to cast people that are on the nose of who that person is. That's what they do. I remember when I went in for Christian, they were like, well, you read the worst, you were absolutely awful, but you are the part. And I was like, yes, job done. Like, what was that? You were dreadful in that reading, but you are it. If we took if we took the words away that we've given you and just let you talk, that's who we're looking for.
No, I love the Curious Question. I thought you were brilliant. Like, it was such a refreshing character to have in the show at that time. And I've just left a meeting and I said I was interviewing you, and all the girls in the office, they're like, and they're all a lot younger than me. They're like 20 years younger. And they're like, ask him about the Chryed wedding, ask him about this, like, because they love it. Like, so, you made such a mark on the show, and we loved you for that. And I loved it when you were a judge on the Andrew Lloyd Webber music and show. I love those shows.
And the funny thing is, you talk about Over the Rainbow in the Code play as well. I have a couple of lines in there that I have to really play down, because it's in the middle of a big argument, and I have to there's a very funny line in there, but it's not meant to be funny, and I have to push it down all the way through in it. But I also love doing that. Obviously, working now, I get the opportunity to work with lots of young actors, young musical actors as well. And that show for me really was this, was one of the highlights of my career, because I got to sort of roll my telly persona into things that maybe people didn't know that I'd done before. That's always the funny thing when I got EastEnders. When you pop into people's consciousness at that sort of age, people sort of didn't realize that I'd had a life on the stage for 20 years before I came there. So the beauty of that was that I was able to roll all of those up. And let's not be funny, it was camp as it was camp as
Going flying off.
getting booted off, having to take your shoes off. You will not get those ruby slippers. And then off on your half moon. And listen, the thing that I'm most proud about that show that people may or may not know, every single one of those girls, even now, today, is working, has an amazing career on stage. Andrew was so kind. He put all the girls that wanted to, he put them through 3 years education at Arts Ed, 3 years musical training after that show, because they were all very, very young. They were all like 16, all of them. And they have all gone on to have absolutely glittering, and I mean glittering, careers. And that shows you that sometimes this style of reality show does have a conscience.
Yeah.
Does have a conscience, and does go on to nurture and produce talent. Because that's the thing about these shows, and the thing about fame, and what you're prepared to do for fame. If I want to tie it back to the Code, that's the thing. That's why these shows are so popular, isn't it? Your Britain's Got Talent, and you're The Voice, because that's why they're so popular. But what's important is that what I always worry about is when people do these shows and they have this little sort of like taste of what it is, what it does to them afterwards, what it does after if it doesn't work out. Because fame is a fickle mistress. It really, really is. And once you've had that little taste, if it all goes away tomorrow, you have to ask the question, who am I? What
Yeah.
am I without it? And I think this is why lots of actors make that choice to either deny themselves for fear of what if. And I find that as well. I mean, I'm lucky that I've never had to make that choice, but I don't know what that would, if I didn't have the opportunity to do what I do, if I was not able to have the creative outlet that I have, if I wasn't able to act, if I wasn't able to sing, I don't know what that would do to me, because it's acting is not just a job for me. My career is not just something that I do to make money. It's part of who I am. It's part of my, it's part of what makes me Johnny. It's part of my personality. It's not just a 9 to 5. I've been learning lots about me too as well from doing this. But that's the thing, I'm an old maid now, and the fact that I can still, through my work, through opportunities like this, be able to learn about myself and understand things more, and sort of change my opinion of things that I thought before. That's the brilliant thing about acting and about theatre and also this play's new writing, and so grateful for it, especially at this time in my life, especially well, that's the other thing as well, queer stories, especially even in TV, especially in soaps, they are always, they tend to be coming of age stories, don't they? The other thing that I would love people to actively think about is what about us old gays? Where do you see that? Where do you see the stories for older queer people? You don't, do you? Not really, especially not on soap, or you don't see sort of love affairs with older gay actors. Not really, do you? I mean, I don't. Maybe I don't watch enough soap, but I'm pretty sure that if there was one, I'd have heard about it. And I just think sometimes we've forgotten like that too, as I think most older actors are. But I think there's a distinct lack of older gay stories within television too. So EastEnders, get on it. Find yourself a nice old gay man to get in there, and give him a nice story.
No, do you know what? I'm going to ask you something else as well because I have to. I'm a fangirl.
Oh,
So I remember your epic series of Celebrity Big Brother. Have to ask. No, so this is
go
why
on.
I love you being you in that show, because a lot of chaos unfolded, particularly one of the biggest moments of television ever. And I feel like that the moment that the situation that unfolded between Angie Bowie and David Gest, you were the only person that had the information that could correct the whole thing. And we as viewers were just like, where's John Partridge? He has this information. And it was like I can't, I've not even got the words. Like, can you just tell me what it was like to be at the eye of that storm?
Well, I think because it was so chaotic, and I don't think it's not going to come as a shock to anybody that I absolutely hated it from beginning to end. I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh my God, really, did you not enjoy it? It was brutal and painful, and like, that is one of those experiences where you go, I am sucking this up right now because I know why I'm here and I know what I'm doing it for, and just get me to the end. It was brutal. And let's not forget, we were in there for 6 weeks, the longest time ever in the house, kept in the house 6 weeks. It was horrific. But when that moment happened, the thing was, this was just like it was like the typical thing in that house. People would say they were going to do something, and then literally in the next breath, they wouldn't do it. I was like, don't say any, it was like literally, don't say anything to, say anybody, please don't do that. And then the next round, she went and told, do you know what I mean? Literally the next breath. And I'm in the shower, I'm in the shower because it's the only place you could get away from the cameras or get away from anybody. So people used to start standing there. I used to stand in the shower for like half an hour thinking, God help me, silently crying in the shower, going, oh, let this nightmare be over. Do you know what I mean? And then by the time I came out of the shower, just absolute carnage, you know. And I'd literally just told her, that's how I'd literally just said, so if you say, you know, keep it, geez, you know, don't say anything yet, doing that. And then no, couldn't do it because that's the nature of the unbelief. I mean, not even, I don't think any of us thought it was going to be that. I don't think any of us thought that that series was going to end up being like that. But once again, I can look back on it now and smile and laugh. At the time, I was like, this is just Armageddon. I was like, you know, and it took me a long, long time. It really did. I'm laughing now, but it took me a long time to look at that with anything other than horror. Because it was really, really difficult. It was so, I don't think anybody will say, I don't think anybody from that cast, even people that had a good time,
Yeah.
would not say it wasn't anything but difficult, you know, because people, for lots of different reasons, were not in very good places when they went into that, you know, house. I can hold my hands up to that. My mum was dying. It was very, very difficult for me. I knew, you know, I needed to raise a lot of money really quickly, and that's how I did it. And in hindsight, you know, that's never the right, it's never the right thing to do. But when you're between a rock and a hard place and you've got to do it, you've got to do it. So, you know, I'm grateful to it for on one hand, but I don't think, you know, lots of us, you know, I think all of us were in like really, really mucky places. And when you put, you know, when you go in to do something like that, it's going to produce, it's going to produce that. But like I say, I can look back at it and smile now, and it has gone on to become what, you know, every year when that date comes round, the David Stead, actually we shouldn't say it because it's God rest his soul and he's an absolute legend. But when that comes round, both Davids, because
Yeah.
then and then we come out 3 months later, and then God rest his soul, David Gest goes as well, which is crazy. He did a really sweet thing for me, David Gest, and I don't think anybody knows this. When I don't know whether I've told this story before. You know, he used to wear these 2 crosses around his neck.
Yeah.
And when we went into the house, when we were in the house, he said he took the longest one, the biggest one off, and he gave it to me. They never showed this on camera because they never showed any of the nice things on camera. He only ever showed the things that were awful on camera. And he gave me this and he said, I want you to take this. And when you get out, he said, I want you to sell it and I want you to put it towards your mum's care. I feel upset when I talk about it now.
Sorry, John.
It's okay. And he was such a kind man, you know, and I think he was a really kind man. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I know he's, you know, known for all this nonsense with Liza Minnelli, and I'm sure he had a horrible side to him as well, as most of us do, you know. But that was a very kind thing to do, you know, for me, to somebody that you don't even really know, and it wasn't done for anything, you know. And there was another time in there where I'd cooked steak. And we were sat at the dinner table, and Scotty T swallowed this piece of steak, and it got stuck in his windpipe, and he started doing that, and got up from the table, and his face was literally going blue, and I was on the other side, and I had to go around the thing, and I gave him the high lick, and the piece of steak came and smacked. But this went on for like, no medics came in. No one came in. He was choking to death. He was literally choking to death. His face was literally going from red to blue. Everyone was like, it was like crazy, crazy. And I was like, bang, bang, and it came and flew out. And I don't think they ever showed. I'm pretty sure they didn't show that, but it was really, really, really. It was really serious. Like he could have choked to death. And then nobody came in. Like the medics never came in. I mean, the amount of times like Daniela and Gemma banged through those doors and like left the building. And I thought they're right on the other side of that door. And they never came in. And I was always like, you watched that. You watched it. You're watching it on the camera. It could have been awful. you know, and that's the thing about those programs. It was just, honestly, or it was the most, I will never experience, thank God I will never experience anything like that. Grateful that I had the opportunity, grateful for the check, but it was hands down the most brutal professional experience of my life. You know,
Well,
it really was.
you did so well. You did so well, John, honestly. You really did, because it felt like you were the voice of reason. You were the safe pair of hands.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
what good
like,
it did me. Do you know what I mean? For what good it did me? Because nobody cares. Nobody wants to listen to you in there. Like, and I get it as well. You know what I mean? It's like, and I hung on.
well, you're a true professional. Certainly over the years at Inside Soap, you were great to us. You know, we had you on photo shoots. I think we had you in a bed with Nina Wadia and Mark Elliott unwrapping Christmas presents.
Exactly.
We had a lovely yes, and you also, we had a lovely photo shoot with you and your lovely mum as well. So, you know, you really
I've still got that as well. I have that here. I still have that. It's a lovely, lovely, because she was really ill at that time too. This is, you know, she was she was ill at that time. She found that very difficult, but she did it for me because that's how much she loved me. You know, it was not in her wheelhouse to want to do something like that, and she did, and I'm very grateful for that.
oh, won't I say it was well, no, it was beautiful photos, a beautiful interview. I remember it very vividly in my mind. So I just kind of want to say thank you for just being such a professional. It's been such a lovely chat with you today. Like, I could honestly talk to you all day, and I know everybody at Inside Soap is going to be so jealous it was me, and they fed their fire.
Thank you as well, and thanks for taking the time to support the code. Thanks for, you know, everything you guys do, supporting stories across those soaps. Soaps are so important to sort of highlight issues, to bring issues, some of them controversial, some of them not, to that wider audience. And it's so important to sort of, what soaps do is they hold up a mirror to what is happening outside. They do, and they are vital, really, in telling stories about everyday people. And I think long may they reign, especially where EastEnders is concerned. Long may it reign, and long may you reign. And thanks for talking to me today.
Exactly the same right back at you, John. It has been absolutely beautiful. And that's a lovely note to end on. Anybody listening, please go and book to see John at the Code, because it sounds like such an amazing play with a really great conversation to be had as well. So thank you so much, John. We're gonna sign off there. It was lovely speaking
Big
to you.
kiss. All the best, my love.
Oh, Johnny, I could listen to John Partridge all day. I could talk to him all day, and I wasn't sure I was ever going to let him go on that call. I mean, what a brilliantly refreshing, candid, honest interview. And you and me have got to talk about this because we loved that series of Celebrity Big Brother. And I think everybody watching this could see how much I was lapping up when John was regaling it. Honestly, the most iconic TV moment of all time when David was dead on Celebrity Big Brother.
What? David is dead? Nobody told me. My goodness. I need to get in the diary room. I need an Uber. I need the memories of it, LJ, honestly. Like, oh my goodness. Like, you know, where were you when the moon landings happened? I mean, Kennedy was assassinated. Where were you when David was dead?
I remember watching it live, and then the next day we worked together in the same office, didn't we? And one of the girls in the office hadn't seen it. And so I said, you absolutely have to watch this. And we all watched it around the computer. And it just never fails to be the most amazing piece of television I've ever seen.
Changed me as a person. I really say that. It changed me as a person. And I thought you were going to be with John Partridge all day. Like, he loved chatting with Soap Scoop, which is fabulous. But yeah, talk about spill the tea. Love that.
I know. I love the fact that he said that he used to hide in the shower, and that's the place that he was when the chaos was
That's really
unfolding.
silly because you don't get a chance to like keep your ablutions up in the Big Brother house.
I mean, me and you loved Tiffany Pollard, didn't we? Because she just gave us material after material. We still quote her.
On a daily basis. Yeah, I mean, if only she'd been in the soap so we could just have an excuse to get her on Soap Scoop. But maybe one day, maybe she'll pop up in Corrie or something. I don't know.
I really want to see her back on our screens again. But yeah, iconic chat from John, and just recalling all those wonderful stories.
What a time to be alive, hey?
Well, it's actually 10 years, the anniversary.
No,
Because
it's not.
it is, because this January, David Bowie, sadly, that was his 10-year anniversary. And it was David Bowie's passing that sparked the confusion. So
Yeah, okay. Well, we're gonna have to mark this milestone, I think. Maybe on Soap Scoop, maybe let's find a way.
anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, David is Dead, please Google Celebrity Big Brother for that series and watch it on YouTube, because
You're welcome in advance, by the way.
Yeah, it is absolutely spectacular. The most confusing moment in TV history ever, which just was like I don't know, almost a car crash that you couldn't slow down, and you, the viewer, were for along with the ride.
Remember the Hot and Bypass crash in Emmerdale, and it just spiraled, and then one thing happened, and then another thing happened, and then you just couldn't, kind of believe it. It was, I mean, more dramatic than any soap, dare I say it. Like, you just can't make drama like that up, but you can make a lot of drama up in the soaps, obviously.
You can, and that actually we have to talk about straight away. Emmerdale, oh my God, Mack is out the bunker. John has been found out. Everybody knows. But that's not the end of the story.
But it's not the end of the story. I think it's safe to say this week, you just have to, you can't miss a moment. There is so much more to come. We're already at the point where I think Caleb is being blackmailed by John after John almost killed Robert. They decided not to, because John is going to be possibly smuggled out of the country by Caleb. And if he doesn't, then he's going to reveal all about Anthony and the dead body. Like, you've forgotten about Anthony and Ruby and all of that. It seems like a lifetime. But everything's the brilliance of Emmerdale. Everything is coming back in, the chickens are coming home to roost. Yeah, but Mack and Aaron reunited on screen. Marin.
They are cute. I love their bromance so much. I remember when we used to ship them back at the day, thinking they had this chemistry.
I thought they might get together when Matt was first in it. I really felt flirtified, and he's quite there is still that, but I think it's going to happen. Cammy and Vinny, Mack and Aaron, that's what the public really want.
I just need to go back to John. I need to circle back to this man, because imagine having the nerves of steel to drop off your kidnapped victim at a hospital and say, here, this man needs help, and then basically run off. Coupled with just having the nerve to then go to Caleb and say, oh, remember that dead body I scurried away?
Remember I helped you out?
I mean, the fact that he's been hiding that body for as long as he have, that's always really amused me. And they've all just kind of accepted it and gone like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. We trust you. We believe you. We've only known you for 5 minutes.
What fools. And do you think that is Anthony like in the bunker? I think there's more to the bunker.
I think he's in the bunker. Like there's a bunker within the bunker and another bunker. Like a trapdoor in the bunker.
Is he in the bunker with Bungle from Rainbow? So it's Bungle in the bunker.
Nothing could make this show more brilliant if Bungle from Rainbow jumped out.
Or if it's in the bunker, if the bunker is in the Bungles where Helen Daniels from Neighbours used to go painting, if you know your Neighbours history. The possibilities are endless.
Producers, listen up.
Listen up, this is what people want. We're telling you.
Well, yeah, clearly not the end of the story. I hope there's more mileage in John, because he is just so...
Well, you're so right about that dropping off at the hospital. And then it was like, he got the hero worship he so craves because he's so twisted. But as he drops him off, he runs off. It says, I'm a paramedic. I've saved this man's life, but you need to get him into the hospital. And the paramedic outside goes, who was that man? Who was that man in a cape who's now flown up, escaping kryptonite? Like, literally, it just really fueled John's kind of crazy savior complex. Absolute scenes.
It's all come unraveled really quickly, hasn't it? Because even like I thought Mack was going to be in the Bungle bunker for months, right? I just didn't think we were finding him until Christmas. I don't know, Christmas.
Yeah, he has risen. Yeah. Matt reborn, but no, we only had to wait a couple of hours. Yeah, they're not mucking about Emmerdale, are they? They're really playing their big stories. But yeah, thankfully, but there was a few moments where we thought Matt was a goner. But they've teased us so much. Max died and come back many times. Have more comebacks than Cher. Like, what more can happen here? I really hope he gets to lie down and has a shave as well. What do you think about Mac's bunker beard?
Oh, I'm all for it.
How are you?
He wore it well.
Really? It's not quite groomed, isn't it? Some nice beard oil, some nice trimming, considering he was in the bungle bunker.
Thankfully, Mac is lovely to look at all times, so I think he can pull off any look. But yeah, brilliant, brilliant stuff, Emmerdale. Yeah, can't get enough of you right now. And another plot that is coming up next week that I'm really excited about, because I love the Max and Stacey era from 2006 into 2007, obviously culminated in the Christmas DVD from Hell. I mean, I think I'd love actually for something like that to kick off in my house on Christmas Day.
It would brighten it up, wouldn't it? 'Cause it's so boring Christmas. After you get like to the afternoon, you're a bit over it. If you opened all your presents and you've had the dinner, like it does drag. But I really think looking back, well, that perked it up, didn't it? What they're watching the Queen's speech, or they just watched it. I remember Dot wanted, oh, I gotta watch the Queen's speech, Tanya. Oh, I said, oh, whatever's that on the DVD. It really brightened up the Brannings Christmas. Yeah. Well, careful what you wish for, though. Eh? We don't really want an EastEnders style Christmas day.
Oh yeah, I don't want anything of mine being popped in the DVD player. Although the DVD player don't work anymore, it's all streaming, isn't it? So we'll be all right.
Imagine if it was now, it'd be buffering, wouldn't it? Like they would have set it up on a streaming service. Lauren would be pressed, Wi-Fi's down, buffering, and then it just it wouldn't really have the same impact. It's of its time, isn't it? But Stax Reunited, like again, we just love that era. I remember when it was on, and you and I big fans at the time, but they're gonna see each other again. And I think they're going to find out the whole Zoe link, which has just been genius. We talk about have a type. He does love a brunette Bolshe Slater, doesn't he, Max?
He does. And do you know what? This is the week as well that Stacey's kind of making plans to leave. So
don't go. Please don't go.
If she leaves the same week as Max comes back in and there's just a fleeting crossover, I'm going to be so furious. Like, at least I want there to be like a kiss or something before they go, just to prove that.
Please give the fans something. Like I agree, and I'm slightly worried. Like if she does go to, where's she going? Brazil, or she's going somewhere?
She fancies Brazil.
Yeah, I think it's Sean there. I think that's the link, isn't it? It's quite far. Didn't she go to East London last time? That grotty flat
as well, wasn't she? She was in prison, East London.
Getting further away. Yes, I really hope it's going to be worth our while, Max and Stacey crossing paths, because we do know Lacey Turner is set to leave the show at some point. We don't actually know when, but I mean, join the dots. She's got plane tickets to Brazil. Please make it happen. Make it 2007.
Now, speaking of Stacey going off on tour, you went to the Coronation Street live tour in London the other week, didn't you?
Very lucky boy. I got to be here at the opening night of an audience for Coronation Street in the West End of London. And this already has gone down in history because live on stage, and nobody knew, Patti Clare plays Mary Taylor, certainly didn't know. Ben Shepherd himself, who is Mary's perfect man, her obsession, dream lover, Ben Shepherd appeared live on stage to surprise Patti Clare, because they've never met. There's been, I think he's on video messages like on This Morning and Good Morning Britain, and they always talk about each other and the fact that in Corrie, Mary loves Ben and wears the Ben Shepherd blanket. They've never met, and they met live on stage. It was amazing. It was hilarious. And he had a Mary blanket. You know how Mary's got the Ben Shepherd blanket with his face? He was wearing a Mary blanket. And the merch not available in the interval, sadly, to get your own Mary blanket. So that was a bit of a tip for Corrie live. I can't find my own Mary blanket. Maybe I'll steal Ben Shepherd's if we meet. But yes, it was really great and a great night.
Well, it's interesting you say about the blanket. We work here at Inside Soap in the same company as Men's Health. And recently they did that amazing cover of Ben Shepherd looking fabulous at 50.
Mary loved that, I bet she bought all the copies out the cabin.
Well, yeah, I really hope that Patti and Mary have become accustomed with this particular issue of Men's Health, because it was really quite something, and I think she would have loved it. So yes, but
you'll be subscribed thanks to that issue.
And you also had the legend that was Barbara Knox on stage, didn't you, who plays Rita?
Yeah, so very rare kind of appearance and interview from Barbara, who we all call Dame Barbara Knox. People were shouting in the audience, you should be a dame, and frankly, yes. Yeah, Barbara Knox, like, what an absolute legend. She doesn't really do a lot of chat, and it was like royalty. I mean, she is royalty, but she Sam Aston escorted her onto the stage. Like, he had her arm. She looked incredible. She looked like she was going to the Oscars. I imagine that's just what Barbara Knox wears around the house. You know, she's like making a cup of tea. She probably has butlers because she's like the queen. And yeah, he kind of brought her on, and she was so touched by it, like standing ovations. And when she looked back at like old clips, you realize just the history she's got. She was first in Corrie in 1964. So it was really fun to just be in her presence, really. Yeah.
So London was the first one, wasn't it? And then is it then going to head off?
Yeah, they're touring around, I think, in the next kind of week or so, and they're different kind of members of the cast depending where you go. So you get a little surprise every night. And I think Barbara might be doing maybe one other date, so this was a rare treat. She's not doing every date. Yeah, so it was a right treat. I can't believe I went, and then yeah, it was all quite last minute as well. So really thrilled I was there.
Well, lovely. If everyone wants to book tickets to an audience with Coronation Street, just fire that up into your search engine of choice. And I'm sure it sounds like it's a really worthwhile experience. So definitely go and do that. We will be back next week with another interview and more Bants and chat. And we will see you then.